XDefiant has finally dropped a new playtest after many people speculating if the game will even release. Seems like they made some changes and wanted to test them again, so they put out a playtest on PlayStation, Xbox and PC. This, as far as I'm aware, is the first time the general public has been able to play the game since 2023. I think the last public test was around June 2023, as I uploaded a video on the game around then, and I titled my video, XDefiant is the new Call of Duty, with a question mark on the end. But I genuinely enjoyed the game back then, so I thought I'd hop on again and play this time, and to my surprise, it's worse, like a lot worse. I don't know how they managed to do this, but in terms of maps and modes, it doesn't seem like anything new has really been added, maybe like one. And it's just, the netcode is terrible. I'm getting hit markers, I'm getting shot behind walls. You know, half my bullets are just not connecting. The game, movement-wise, feels weird compared to before. It's incredibly difficult to aim for some reason on the controller. I just have no idea what they've been doing for the past, like, 10 months. The game felt great last time, and I genuinely would have rather played it over COD. I haven't played a Call of Duty game for years, but XDefiant for me felt like a return to form if it were a COD game, right? It felt like a Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4. Always enjoyed the Black Ops series in Call of Duty, and I thought, yeah, this would be a great free-to-play alternative that I'll definitely try out. And I was doing very well. As far as I'm aware, I was pretty good at the game, and I was enjoying it because I was winning. But now it's just, I'm having so much difficulty for some reason. I don't believe that I personally have got much worse at gaming in the span of 10 months. And it seems like a lot of other people are also saying similar things. So it seems like somehow, some way, they've downgraded the game after needing to delay it. I mean, as far as I can see, you should have just released what you had. Go back to the build you had 10 months ago and scrap everything you've done, because it just isn't working. I don't know what you've been doing, but scrap it all. The game might perform a bit better, but if you've sacrificed being less intense on the CPU through reducing, the intensity of your dedicated servers, and therefore your netcode is worse, just scrap it. I'd rather have my game perform a little bit worse, but my shots actually connect and stuff like that. You know, if you've reduced things like lag compensation so it's like less accurate, but you've increased FPS as a result, just scrap that. Like, I'd rather have a game that is incredibly accurate and does use a ton of my CPU, but I'm actually, what I see on my screen is basically the same thing that the server sees and that everybody else sees. Because right now, doesn't seem to be the case. There's an incredible amount of desync. Somebody on their end is seeing me out in the open, but on my screen, I'm clearly behind a wall. I've seen many videos of people experiencing the same thing, just blatantly like dying while they are behind a wall, because you can see the player turns into a third-person camera when you die, and you can see people that are like clearly 5 or 6 steps behind a wall and just randomly dying, almost like the bullets they're getting shot by are wall-piercing bullets. Now, as far as I'm aware, there has been some issues inside of the studio, so I don't envy the devs in any way. My hatred for the changes made to this game aren't towards the developers. I myself know that it's often the project leaders and the people higher up at companies like Ubisoft wanting to make changes that don't really make sense, wanting to chase trends, wanting to copy Call of Duty. I believe a lot of that stuff was done, implemented into the game, and then half-baked, and ultimately just scrapped and removed entirely once it was voiced by the developers that this wasn't the right direction to take. So I'm assuming they just did a lot of stuff over the past 10 months that unfortunately got scrapped anyway. And maybe this test is just does the game still perform well even though we've changed a bunch of stuff and then had to undo it? Maybe they just want like a general idea as to how the current build is performing. I don't think it's releasing anytime soon though. Like, I wouldn't get your hopes up. There was speculation that this game might release at the end of 2023 or beginning of 2024. I don't think it has a chance. I think this could be delayed again until the end of 2024. But then again, they won't want to release in that window because Q4 is when everyone releases. They would be directly competing against the likes of Call of Duty. The way that XDefiant is gonna be successful, more than likely, is releasing in that sort of Q1 or Q2 window. You know, releasing sometime between like February and May of 2025 is probably the best window for them now. At that point, is the game ever gonna happen? I don't know. It'd be incredibly unfortunate, but if things don't get fixed quickly, the game might just get scrapped. Wouldn't be the first time in the past 12 months that a game that is almost, you know, a game that's 90% there has been scrapped. I mean, look what happened with Hyenas. So yeah, I've got, like, you know, not much positive to say. I mean, if this was my first time playing it, there would be, but, you know, in terms of new positive things to say in comparison to the last test, I don't really have anything. Like, the game still, you know, it performs well. I haven't, like, lagged out or anything. There hasn't been any rubber banding issues. You know, some of the movement feels pretty nice, like the, you know, the character animations are kind of nice. Jumping and sliding feels okay. You know, like movement speed of a character, whatever. Yeah, audio is fine. The UI is acceptable, nothing amazing. Some of it does feel a bit big at times, but I'd be nitpicking at that. So, like, you know, all around it's like it's a decent game that has a couple issues. But that's it. It's not gonna be anything that contends for the the best shooter of 2024 if it was to release this year. I don't want another delay, but unfortunately, probably needs it. And you know, a game that is delayed is eventually a good game. A game that releases broken is you know, dead on arrival. So yeah, personally, I think we should go back to the drawing board with some of these things. Try and make it somehow feel more like it did 10 months ago, if that's even possible, and go from there. The game does need a couple things, like I don't believe there's a progression system or anything, so that's really important to keep player attention in today's world, especially on a free-to-play shooter game. So if there is no progression system, then that definitely needs to be worked on. Yeah, that's kind of everything I have to say. Yeah, it's an okay game, feels a bit clunky, and unfortunately I think it's just been the subject to some bad higher up decisions, which I can understand. So yeah, hopefully they get it fixed. Listen to the community, there'll be many people giving feedback, so hopefully they actually listen. And yeah, we'll see what happens to the next one. I think in total I played about 45-50 minutes, and that's it. It's uninstalled now, so yeah.